Hello, my name's Anthony Hall, and in this tutorial we're going to be making this chest here. So I'm going to try and do some more modelling tutorials because I don't think there's enough lightwave ones out there, especially not basic ones. And I enjoy modelling and I never get to do it that much. So this is what we're going to model. We're going to model the top and the bottom. So let me just close everything. And what I'm going to do is start off by just creating the basic bottom of the chest by dragging out in the top, pulling out in the bottom, and then while the little orange handles appearing, which means it's active, I'm going to press N on the keyboard to bring up numerical and see how big it is. Look, so basically we're going to make it roughly around the size I think I would want it to be. So let's just say, I don't know, we'll say this chest is about 800 mil. Let's bring the height down. Let me just zoom in here, look in the top corner to have a look. Make it rectangle. Looking at these sizes, so you can see the sizes roughly using. And let's decide on, I mean, this isn't bad roughly. I think something like this size will do. Okay, maybe bring it in a little bit. So let's say I'm going to go for this size here, look. And then what I'm going to do, it says the center XYZ. Let's just put 0 in all them, so we've centered the box in our perspective and on our grid, like so. We're not going to add any more elements at this stage, so we can just shut the numerical and press spacebar to say we're happy with that. At the bottom, make sure you're on polygons. To switch between polygons, edges and points, you just simply press the spacebar or select, or you can just select it. We're going to select this top poly, go to multiply bevel, we'll zoom in, so you can zoom in up here, look, or I'm using the wheel button. I'm going to hold control to lock it so it only bevels inwards, like so. So I'm going to bevel it once, let go of my left mouse button. Then I'm going to, with holding down control still, I'm going to click the left mouse button and drag it as again. So we've got two bevels, look like so. Then over on here, under the multiply with the extend, go down to smooth shift in your front or your right view. Let's just click and drag to the left, and we're going to pull it right down. So we've got roughly the same area all the way around, like so. So we've got a kind of chest. Then we'll press spacebar and then click and deselect. So we've got the basic bottom of the chest. We'll add the details later. Let's go to our layers. And your layers is over here, look. So if it's not up, you can bring it up. And your little drop down arrow, it's untitled. And up here it says untitled because the actual project isn't been named yet, and neither of the layers. So I'm going to double click the layer and it'll bring up what do you want to call it. Let's just call it bottom, like so. So we know. Then I'm going to click below it into a blank layer, and I'm going to click the little under the little B for background. I'm going to see where this actual bottom is. So let's make the top. So for this we'll use the disk, and I'm not going to drag anything out. I'm just going to press N on my keyboard, and this will bring out the kind of default setting. If it looks not right, under actions click reset, and this will bring up the reset original settings, like so. Okay, so what we can do then is we can bring it in and down in the side views, and you can make, what we're going to do is in these in the profile views here in the front and the right, we're going to line it up with the chest, so we've got roughly the same kind of size. If you see here, look, so I'm just bringing it in and I'm thinking, how big do I want that chest to go? I don't want it to be more rounder, like so. I'm going to stick with the default of 24. You can reduce it if you want or make it what you want. Let's say that. I know it's not dead on it, but let's say that. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the numerical, press spacebar. Then I'm going to come down here in your bottom left and click on points, and then I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to lasso round by holding the right mouse button down, and I'm going to select these points. When you select it, press delete on your keyboard, not backspace, delete, and then it does this. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to thicken this top. Let's, while we're on the actual layer here, let's double click it, call it top. Now there is a problem when you do it, when you actually reduce it down to this way by deleting the actual points. I want to thicken this. Now when I first did this, obviously I got to multiply, thicken and thicken it in, and what you get is it not working. And I played around for this for about 20 minutes and I just couldn't get it to work. It wasn't working right and I couldn't figure it out. So I posted a little video on the Lightwave Salvation group and said, why is this not thickening? And basically what it was, one of the members came back and says, check if you've got any 2-point polys. So when you do this, you will have a 2-point poly. So go to more over here, bring up the stats here, look, make sure you're on polygons, and here it will say 2 vertices. Click the little plus to select them and then just press the delete button to get rid of them and then shut it down. Then it will work. Honestly, I would have never got that if I didn't put it onto Lightwave Salvation and figure it out, because I just couldn't figure it. And then what we'll do is we'll bring it in, and it's up to you how thick you want this top to be. So let's just say that, okay? Okay, so we've got the top. We can put the bottom below it and stuff. So what I want to do is add some ridges around here and parts. Now before I did this, I went on to like Pinterest and just put chests, cartoon chests, and just looked at lots of references and stuff, and I grabbed a few, put them on my desktop so I can like use them as references and create my own from it. So next thing we'll do is we'll add some bit more detail into it. So let's choose this side poly, making sure you're on polygons, rotate, hold shift to say you want to select another poly, and then select this side. Then what we'll do is bevel. Now hold control down, and then in your right view I want you to drag to the left, deciding how far you want this to go in. I think that's enough. Okay, then while the polygons are selected, go to smooth shift and then bring them in the side so you can see them coming in, look, and bring them in how far you want. Don't overlap this inner line of edges here, because you're going to be bringing it into the inside. But I don't need it to go that far anyway. I think that, in fact, that's more than enough. So let's just stick with that. So what I'm going to do is press space bar to drop any tools, and then / will drop any polys. So A on your keyboard now to center everything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more edges along here so we can add a border, like for metal, maybe a metal border, and we can make the inside bits wood. So to do that, we go to detail, edit edges, and you get this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to pull over and make an edge around here, look, so it's quite a chunky edge, and then do another one, and then roughly we're putting it roughly around the sides. I'm not doing it dead on. You can if you want numerical. You can bring the numerical up and you can do it dead on and stuff, but I'm just going to quickly do this. I'm going to click again, and then I'm going to add 2 in the center, roughly around the same thickness. So if you want to move them after, you just left mouse click and move it like so, look. So what I'm doing is I'm looking, and I can look in your top view here that they're roughly around the same. I would say maybe they need bringing this way a little bit, maybe. But again, numerical would be better to do it. But let's say that. Okay, let's say I'm happy with that. So drop the tool by pressing spacebar. Make sure you're on polygons, and then what I want you to do is select all these polys here, not the bottom ones, just the ones of the top of the arch of it going down here. So you're leaving a border all the way around, and then do the same by holding shift, because I'm selecting more polys on this side. Okay, and this is the bit I want to be wood, and I want to bring it in. So let's just go to multiply, smooth shift in the top view or the side view, and let's bring it in. And again, it's up to you how far you want this to be kind of come in. It's up to you. Don't overlap the inner out here, look. So I'm happy with that. So spacebar, drop selection, and I've got this bit now. The edges are a bit sharp, and also after you've done this, you might think, well, actually, that doesn't look centered to me, so I want to change it. So it's easy enough done. All you would do if you want to move this around or any of these elements, go to points, hold and lasso round, so basically holding down, you're drawing round the center bit, then go to the move tool, and then if you hold control, drag it side to side, you can decide where the center is if it was not right, or if you weren't sure where it was, and so on and so forth. But I'm just saying you can do that anyway. Okay, I think next bit is these edges here are quite sharp, so let's select the edges of both sides and let's chamfer them and so it gives it a bit of a bevel. So I'm going to switch to the edges tool, and then I'm going to start selecting the edges around this edge here. Now you could try going over to select loop and see if it loops for you, which in this case it has around there, which has saved me a little bit. And then we can go round here, and then again let's see if it'll loop, saving some time. And then here, so we've got all those edges there I'm happy with. Let's do the same here. So select, let's keep forgetting loop. I've got a really bad habit of forgetting shortcuts. And again, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. There. So what I've got is I've got the edges around these sharper contours. So let's go to multiply, chamfer, and then let's just chamfer the edges so they're not sharp like this. Then spacebar and / to drop it. So that's a bit better. In fact, we could do it on this side as well. You could do it all over, but I'm not going to do it too much because I don't want to get dragged into do too much detail. I just want to concentrate on getting the basic shape. So let's loop it, make sure the bottoms. So if I'm not bothered about the bottom, let's just try the sides. And again, this. Oh, let's loop. Let's see if I can just chamfer these a little bit, like so. Okay, drop the selection again on the space bar. So we've got this nice little top, and if we have a look at the bottom, we're kind of getting there. Okay, we've got to add a little keyhole and stuff. Well, let's go. We'll go back to this and we'll do a keyhole. Well, let's do the bottom now. Okay, so again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use the edit edges to add some edges. Okay, so let's go to detail, edit edges, and in this profile here, your front one, we're going to right mouse click, and let's drag over the edge, and let's make it roughly, I'm going to try and get it similar to the top. Okay, and let's go back here, click again with the right mouse, and let's drag it and let's make it roughly in line with the top. Okay, and it'll go all the way around, look. So let's do it on this side. So in our right profile, let's do it again, right mouse click, drag it over. In fact, it'll help if I was viewing it. Once you've done this, you can simply just go in and move it how you want it. Let's say there. So I'm just left mouse clicking to move it, and then let's move this one over to here. So they're kind of roughly around it. I mean, this one here probably could do it coming a bit that way. Okay, and then what we could do is what we need to do now is let's add one at the top. Help if I could view it actually, like so, and then let's just add one more for the bottom, like so. So we've got these polygons made up now around the edges using the edge tool. So spacebar to drop it. Jump to polygons. Remember, I'm just all I'm doing to jump between these elements here is pressing spacebar. Let's select these panels here. This is going to be the wood, like so. And I know the edges aren't all perfect because I'm doing it quickly. I'm not doing it dead on. So we've got this. Again, let's go back over to multiply, smooth shift, and let's drag it in a little bit. We don't want it. I don't want this to be dead deep. Let's say, let's have a look. let's say that. So at this stage, I mean, I could have gone and done the same. You know how this has got one going around there, the top's got the actual ridge here. You could have gone and done it down the middle as well. So you could have it down the middle as well. I've just left it like this just to show you. Now, like before, what we could do is spacebar, and we can select these outer edges like so. And you would go round and let's just select them all, making sure I've got the right ones like so. You see, so they're not so sharp. What we'll do, the edges, is we'll do what we did with the top, and you can do this on whatever edge. You can have a go and do this with whatever edges you want. So when you're actually coming up with having a go at doing the chest, or like I said, once you've had a go at it, you get the kind of basics. You could have a go at just doing your own design, and let's just chamfer it up. So what's happening is it's chamfering the top as well. That's because I just Control Z. That's because the top's selected. I don't, and so it's doing that as well. So let's just undo that, and let's just chamfer this a little bit, and then spacebar and drop selection with /. So I've got these edges, and then we can come around and do the edges here as well if we want. However, I'm not going to for the time being. Let's just turn it on. Let's have a look. So we're kind of getting there. Let's add some feet. So let's make sure we're on polygons, and let's select these four polys here. Look, and what we're going to do is I'm going to bring them down. I'm going to use the multi-shift, and I'm going to bring them down and bring them in. So we're going to bring down, bring them in a little bit, so they're not perfectly kind of, and it's up to you. I don't know how far. That'll do. So let's bring them down. So we've got them like that. Look, spacebar / to drop. And now other stuff I did. What did I do? Oh, I added some detail. So I selected these polys. Look. So select these polygons. Look, on each corner. I can't remember if I did this on the top or not, but it's up to you. Like so. And what I want to do is we're going to use the multi-shift. Click on numerical. Make sure it says group polys. If it's not grouped, when you bring them out, it's going to do this. And I don't want that. I want them grouped so they're together. Okay. And what we're doing is we're bringing it out and we're bringing them in just to give it like the legs a bit of chunkiness, I suppose. And it's up to you how far you want to bring them in or what you want to do and so on. Let's just say that. So now what we've got is these like chunky legs and stuff. And you could select these two here. I think I did it to these two. I'm not sure. But we'll do it. See what it looks like. Because it doesn't really matter. Just showing you how you could maybe go something like this. Okay. Okay, so we've kind of got that. You get the gist of it. So next bit is let's finish off by just doing. So obviously one part of the top's got to be the front, so it doesn't really matter. They're both the same symmetrically. So let's say we'll put the bottom in the background. Let's say this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this poly. I'm going to use the multi-shift, and I'm going to bring it out like so. And you can see, let me zoom in on here so you can see. And then, so it's gone out just in line with this, roughly. And then I'm going to right mouse click and bring it out and in a little bit more. Now, I've done it like this because this is where the key lock is. But I also want to bring this bit down so it kind of overlaps where you might put a padlock or something like that. I don't know. So, deselect it. Now we can select the bottom bit. Let's multi-shift again. Bringing it in like so, not overlapping. Now, as you can see, it's going out here. It's because the polygon is facing that way, or the normal of the polygon. So if you don't want that, because all I was going to do is kind of drag it in and rotate it. However, if we go back, why this is selected, if you go on to multiply, rotate, make sure your mouse, so wherever the mouse click is, it will rotate. You can straighten it up like so. and then we can pull it down with the multi-shift, and then maybe in a bit. I don't know how far we want this to go, but that could be the lock as such. Let's just turn them both on. Let's have a look. So you've kind of got that lock overlapping. I mean, you can put a hole, you can put a padlock through. Lastly, let me just quickly, on the top, let's go on a new layer, put the top in the background. I'll just show you quickly how I did the keyhole. So get the disc in the kind of front view, so you can see the lock part. Let's say we're going to put a little keyhole here. So I'm not extruding it, I'm just bringing the circumference out like so. Drop the selection, then use the move tool. Let's bring it forward to the front like so, so we can see. You can see it like so and like so. Okay, let's position where I want the top. Then what we're going to do is go to the points, select these points here. Look, you can lasso around them if you want. Let's say not them two. Let's say those, and then just switch to your move tool. Yeah, and if you look at the sides of it, it shows you the shortcuts and that, and then just drag it down to say here. So this is going to be where the keyhole is. Yeah, let's deselect them, and then with these two here, look, let's select both of those points even. Let's stretch them in like so, then move them so it's centered. Then what we're going to do is lasso to deselect them, and then we're just going to use the drag tool, and then we're going to drag and move these polys round a little bit just to give it a bit more shape. And it could be just as simple as that. You could I mean, you can carry on. I mean, if you want this to be tighter and you want them to be rounder, you want to play around and so forth and so on. Do you know what I mean? This is just a quick way of doing it. So me rushing as well. So let's say that's the keyhole. Yeah, let's thicken it. Multiply, thicken. Okay, so it's got some thickness to it like so. Okay, then we just need to cut this out of the shape with the good old Boolean. And I say that because it's, yeah, it doesn't like me. So I've rotated it and I'm placing it so this shape goes through the background contours of the lock. Okay, like so. Yep, in the position I want it roughly. Yep. Then what I'm going to do is select the top and put the key what I want to use to cut out of that shape. So I'm trying to cut out the negative from the positive. You go to construction, Boolean, leave it on subtract and press OK, and then what you get is that key cut out like so. And then with the key itself, the hole, sorry, just delete it, and then let's have a look. There we go, and that's where I'm going to stop. That's about it. We can put some handles on. You know, our chests have got handles and stuff if you wish. I have got a version of this that is already made. Now you're thinking, now how would I texture it? So you could start one by one selecting the different polygons and the contours and trying to lay it out in your UV. So let me have a quick look at the UV window. So if you want to quickly try something, and let's try, what you could do is use the edges, select the edges. So this is me thinking we could use this tool under UV called ABF UV Unwrap. So what you would need to do is choose the contours of where you want it to unwrap. So let's say, imagine it's a zip, and you're going to unzip certain edges or contours. So let's say this. So I would say, okay, I want these here to imagine this was a zip. So if I unzipped it, this whole bit would come off. Then I would go, okay, I want a zip along here as well, along these edges. and then what I'm going to do is do the same this side with the other one. So basically what I'm looking at is the two side bits and the top to unwrap. So we don't want that. Make sure you've got it just exactly the same all the way around. So let's have a look. I don't need to do the front. Now the lock is separate, so that will be tricky. So let's say I want to do the lock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, take this lock, unzip it here, and then I want you to what? I'm going to have to guess with this. I'm going to tell it to unzip. You'd have to play around with this. I'm going to try this. Tell it to unzip in this way. Because once we've unzipped it, you could maybe. I'm going to leave it like. Let's say that one. This is going to be interesting. Let's have a look what it's going to do. Okay. ABF unwrap. Okay, so there's the centre. There's the sides. So the sides are all right, actually. So what you've got to do now, I mean, this is a quickest way of doing it. But so I'm selecting the polys, I'm moving them up here, and I'm rotating. And this is where I'm going to kind of decide. It's not exactly amazing, but I suppose if you're going to take this through to like Photoshop and paint it, and all the polys are flat enough, you could get away with it. I mean, what I'll do is I'm not going to do it in this tutorial, but I'll take it through myself. I'll give you this scene as well with the UV so you can have a go and see what you come up with. So here's the actual lock, which I don't think, not amazing at all, but we'll see. Let's put this up here, rotate it. It's actually got the center bit as well, which is, and remember I've rushed this. Let's just put this here. And then this bit, so I'm lassoing round. Let's make it a bit bigger. Try and maximise the space. Okay, let's... when I do these tutorials, I always think it's a quick 10-minute tutorial. It's never 10 minutes. But I don't want to rush it, and if you're new to it, you don't get it right. So I'm just making these a bit bigger so it's easy to. So there's the actual UV for the top, okay? So there's the wood bits. You just got to, in Photoshop, I'm guessing you take it through, you can fill it in with wood. You've got the metal, you've got the actual lock and stuff. So that is the top. Now, if you want to see the UV, it's vertex maps, texture, and there's the UV. Right mouse click, give it a name. So let's just call it top. Okay. Like so. And then we've got the bottom. It's always good to rename that, because if you go and do UV unwrap, and you can rename it, you don't rename it, it will add it to the other one as well, so you'll have them both on here. So with this one, it's going to be very similar. Let's say I want to unwrap this, so we're going to say this is actually more than I was going to do on the tutorial, but I want to show you. So I'm trying to think, how would I unwrap it? So I'm gonna, don't want them. So if you're looking, I'm making this, I'm deciding where these seams are going to go and how it's going to unzip. If it's going to work. I'm trying to unzip it in my head. So there's a zip, unzip it all the way around to there, all the way around to there. Let's say unzip this bit. I mean, until I unzip it, I mean, I'm trying to kind of zip it in my head until I actually do it. So I'm going to do the same, and you actually do the ABF is have you how I thought it through, like, and I've unzipped it in my head, does it come out the way I think it's going to do? If you get what I mean. So let's just see. This will be interesting. There. So let's have a look. So we've gone from there all the way around there, up there, along there, down, round and across. Let's have a laugh. Yeah, it ain't perfect. It's kind of done it like, it's the kind of way I would do a box when I would unwrap a box. But I mean, you can't actually straighten this up. There is a rectangular grid. It is more for this. I don't think it'll work with this at all. Yep, don't. But you can take this through, I suppose. You will be able to take this through and have a go. So you could put wood in there, and everything else would be metal. But like I said, ain't perfect. It gives you another UV here. So right mouse click, rename, bottom. I will give you this scene, and I'll have a go at texturing it myself. And depending on what it comes out like, I'll provide that as well. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the tutorial. It is a basic kind of chest. One last thing, if you wanted to make it a bit more quirky, so I've got both layers on here. What you could do is you could go to multiply, lattice tool, and it brings this up. Okay, so what we could do is we could make it more, I don't know, cartoony. Let's bring this up here so it's like that. Bring the sides in, bottom in, kind of weird looking top, maybe back could kind of come in some way, looks like it's been dinted. Do you know what I mean? So you could come up with a really quirky, play around with this tool and come up with something weird. I mean, you can do the top and the bottom separate, it's because both layers are on, and kind of decide on what you want to come up with and what you want to do. But yeah, I mean, that's up to you. That's just using the lattice tool for a bit of fun. But anyway, thanks for listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please share, subscribe, check out the Lightwave Salvation Facebook group, and look out for my next tutorial.